Now, first of all, I have a slide here that I want to talk with you about before we get into the objections. Before we get into all that, we need to understand what I call objection language. In other words, what is the customer really saying? Because that's what handling objections all comes down to, is what is the customer really saying? Because a lot of times the objection isn't what it seems, as I'm sure that you know. And so I want to talk about understanding objection language before we get into it. First of all, understand that 70% of in-person sales come from interested clients. So in other words, when you walk into a business, you don't need to get too worked up over people that are not interested. If you first walk in and somebody just, isn't at all interested and kind of kicking you out the door, don't let that get to you. I don't want us role-playing all these objections. I don't want it to make you guys feel like, wow, the most important thing is knowing how to handle all these terrible objections. Really, it's not. The most important thing is getting clients interested at the beginning and then keeping them interested. So your primary goal is really to make more clients interested initially, not to get them switched back over from being disinterested. Objections are usually saying one or both of, I don't trust you, or I don't like you. Now, that may not be your fault. Sometimes it is, our fault. Sometimes the customer doesn't like us and it is our fault. Sometimes they don't trust us and it is our fault because of what we say or how we act. But sometimes it's not our fault, but whether it's our fault or not, that is our problem. Objections are usually a way for clients to validate their first impression. So, if the client has an impression of you that says, this person is someone I don't want to do business with, then they're going to spend the rest of the presentation validating the fact that they don't want to do business with you by saying things like, well, this is too difficult. I don't want to get involved with this. And, I don't want to switch, and all these things that they say that really just mean I don't like you or I don't trust you. It's usually a way for them to validate their first impression. Understand the importance of appearance, facial expressions, and nonverbal communication. But keep in mind that your nonverbal communication, the tone of your voice, the way that you look, the confidence that you exude when you walk into a place of business, just all this nonverbal communication is extremely important. And then lastly, track your responses to gain an understanding. Now, one of the most common things that I'll do when an agent will call me and they'll say something like, everybody is telling me they're not interested, okay? Now, that is very general information, and to be real honest, as a sales trainer, myself or Matt Price, we can't really do much with that information. Everybody's telling me they're not interested. Okay, well, what exactly does that mean? How many people did you go and visit? Of those people, how many of them said they were not interested, and in what way did they say that? Did they say they don't want to switch? What is it? What's the actual objection? You've got to track the real numbers and be honest with yourself. And this is what I found. I have found that when you actually track the numbers, it's actually not depressing. It's usually invigorating because, you'll get out in the field and you'll spend all day out there in the field and you come back and you think, man, everybody today just slammed me, And then you actually sit down and look at the numbers and you realize, actually, I only talked to 5 business owners today. And so you realize really the problem wasn't that everybody was slamming you. The problem was just that you had a down day as far as contacts. And you only talked to 5 business owners. Well, it's not unusual for 5 business owners in a row to not be interested. That's not unusual at all.